Mr. Paradise, Pickin' Paradise, and it's Thanksgiving Day, and I have decided to go ahead and do a little bit of comparison between the American lock and the Mako 427. I picked this fresh out of the package the other day and for the first time, and I've played with them a little bit. I don't have as much practice with these as I do with these, so I probably picked the Americans a lot easier, but they're very comparable. So what I've got for us today is I've laid everything out, I've taken them apart, I've analyzed a little bit, and I do think that, of course, the Mako's coming with 6 pins instead of the 5 definitely makes it more difficult. I do think that the serrations and spools are slightly deeper on the Mako locks. Serrations are definitely deeper. They are almost interchangeable. I can put the American core into the Makos. The other way around, however, I cannot. Well, I can, but it just doesn't operate as smoothly. I can put this one in and it just grabs just a little bit. So, I mean, that's just a machining thing. So, leads me to believe maybe, since it's rough around the drill where the pins go in, that might be, they might not finish that as well. The other thing is that the cylinders don't have, this has a little knockout here versus this one doesn't. It's just marked here to tell you that's the front. So keys are awfully different shapes and different, well, one key will work in the other one. So the Mako will definitely work in the American and vice versa, but the length is longer and the head is different. So some slight differences in the key, whatever this thing is, some slight differences, but not much. One has a little bubbled kind of head there. That's a real official term, bubbled kind. Yeah, so very, very comparable. The American body is a little bit lighter and looks like it's a little bit more refined inside, as the Mako is definitely heavier. That's probably from the nickel plating. It feels more solid. I like the way it feels. But inside, kind of a little weird down there around the actuator. The actuator doesn't look as crisp or as beefy as the American. And that's about it. So pins, a little bit deeper serrations, a little bit more deeper spools, it seems like. And definitely another difference is, let's pick one up, the springs. We got steel springs versus copper springs. Let's see, first glance there. They're a little bit more tighter wound too. Copper springs definitely a little bit softer. So I've got a couple here that I've pulled out, and I've actually taken one pin out of this to make it a 5-pinner just like this guy. And I did that because I wanted to try to keep the time down. Would you shut up, doggy? And the difference between picking them, I think the Makos take me a little bit longer and they require just a little bit more tension, and it's a little bit easier to overset versus the American. Maybe I've just got them dialed in. So let's see if we can pick them. I'm not gonna pick them in vise. Let's go ahead and see. And even the actuator, spring tension and everything kind of feels the same. A little comparison here. Heavier, beefier feel, a little bit smoother action maybe, but definitely feels about the same. So let's get this American picked in hand, because I usually pick in vise. And let's see how long it takes me, and then we'll pick the other one in hand and see how long that takes. Now time for me to shut up and pick. I don't know how long that was. I'll call it 30 seconds or so. So that one's picked. Let's get the Mako out. Heavier, nicer body, and I'm not as used to it. So I think if I get it anywhere under a minute, it's really, really comparable. And they definitely are comparable, but the other difference is these Mako locks, whenever the pin feels really tight, that means it still needs to be picked, versus my indication on the Americans is if the pin lifts up and kind of feels firm, it's picked. It's picked. It doesn't need to be. Definitely a harder time finding the pins and navigating. We have a totally different feel. Let's just start that over again. And like I said, I'm really used to the Americans. That all felt wrong there, but still getting clicks on other ones. I found that as well, that nope. Well, Mako's definitely taken picking, more difficult with picking. Okay, it's close. There we go. Come on. Nope. Oh well, 10 minutes. Video is kind of long, but we're gonna get this guy. I can't not let it go now. I did so good picking the American in hand. Woo! Jeez. It worked the crap out of me. That's by far the longest that it's taken me to pick this one, even though I've probably only picked it like maybe 5 or 6 times. I picked it once in hand before I started the video, and I picked this one once in hand before I started the video. Before that, I definitely got an American faster, and the Mako did take longer, but it didn't take that long. So maybe I had a little bit of video fright. Nonetheless, guys, you got a little bit of take at it. I was using a Peterson 50 thousandths and a hook 7 Peterson. And again, on the Americans, the tip is light tension, but I get a little heavier than most. And when I feel a pin that kind of feels like, oh, that's nice and tight, and it kind of moves the core up a little bit, that's probably a set pin. Versus the Mako, a little bit more tension, and the pin, when they feel tight and bound, they are. And then when they're loose, they're set. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope everybody's having a nice Thanksgiving, and keep picking.